does going digital, having digital workplace and having a digital workforce, which is also different, threaten our productivity? And I think the answer of that is it does not, right? And so the next slide you can see what typically happens when you don't have this results oriented or single vision for the company, which you get caught into the activity trap. And this could happen, mind you, whether you're digitally advanced or not. You go to the office and you're stuck in kind of so much distractions, and you have that one goal and you have a lot of blockers in between, but then you're kind of going around in circles and nobody's really looking at the bigger picture and tracking every output for every employee. And if you're a manager or a CEO of the company, then obviously that's going against why you invested in this team, right? So you want to be able to track performance, which is important, whether or not you're digital. And so, sorry. And if you go to the next slide. So we believe that to be able to have a more productive team, you're going to and increase your return on investment, you have to really empower the whole team. So being results oriented, encouraging them to take ownership of their work, and that's by delegating authority rather than delegating work. And you can hold them accountable by measuring this and measuring this company-wide and department-wide. So if you go to the next slide, a basic thing, and this is what the guys from Google has taught us, is the OKRs, objectives and key results. It's a very simple, straightforward process that you can do with a free tool like Google Suite, and encourages a lot of, it basically encourages cross-department transparency on what everybody's doing and why everybody's doing it. And how is that getting us closer to our company-wide goal set out by our CEO? And if you go to the next slide, please. You can see here just a basic example of how we can break that down. So up as here in Docu10, we have one objective, which is normally tied into revenue goals for the year and for the quarter. And we can put in, person is in charge of this, and then have weekly sort of updates on what you did, how is that getting closer to our goals. And it's really important to note that this is not a to-do list. This is an objective. Typically 5 objectives are good to have. And it can be a little bit ambitious. And so you kind of measure like whether, if you're able to do everything, then that's great. And if you're able to go 80% to that, then that's also good. But the whole key is to like everybody can see this. If you can scroll down even, then everybody knows what everybody's doing and why. And this also promotes employees to talk to each other and help each other deliver on their own OKRs, which in the end delivers company KPIs, key performance indicators. So you really are able to get the most out of everybody. And the next slide is just a bit of how we're able to plan this on a more qualitative side. So it's not all about the measurements here. So this is about progress, plans, and problems, right? So when we have our weekly meetings, we talk about, what did you do last week? What do you plan to do this week? And what are your blockers? What are your problems? Is there anything we can solve? What's stopping you from getting there? So this is like very typical with engineering teams, for example, when they're developing a new product. But then we've seen countless other companies have been able to do this in marketing, for example, sales, and even customer retention, which can lead to customer success. So next slide, please. Obviously, there are productivity tools available there, and these are just some examples, Docu10 being one of them. And we use a lot of these that we're showing you now so that we can automate a lot of processes, not just document management, also booking meetings, collaborative project management tools, or note-taking. And I think one important thing here, if you go to the next slide, please, is that to reinforce company culture and have this digital workplace and digital workforce, it's really important that everybody knows what we're doing. And that also stems out to celebrating little wins, right? So with us in Docutan, if there's a new deal that's signed or something positive that's happened, and it's announced automatically, and we all celebrate that person's good job. And I think that's a great way of still maintaining this positive environment, even if we're working all remotely. And the next slide is essentially what we're trying to say here is that like better employee engagement and experience pulls in more revenue compared to competitors with low employee engagement. You want your employees to be happy in their work environment, productive, and know like why they're doing what we're doing. And I think that's kind of like the basis of all this. The next slide is the last slide. You can we do have some documentation up on our website and some blogs. They're both in Spanish and English, and so please feel free to reach out to me or reach out to anybody in the team if you wanna go more in detail. My details are in the next slide, the last slide. So thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you very much, Co. We've just got one of our someone who's joined us. It's Nacho Maurice from Frank Consulting has just shared his opinion on what you were saying, and he said, "I totally agree with the results-orientated approach. It allows companies to spot those who just hang around having coffees with key people and attending meetings, but not really producing. Nevertheless, it only works if the work is attributable. It's also frequent that work from home time for people who have direct reports means just passing on the work onto those reports. It's essential to use project management tools to ensure accountability and avoid tasks from sliding through the cracks, particularly when the team is working from home." So thank you for sharing your view of this, Nacho. Ricardo, would you like to just tell us a bit about Tecna Horizon now and introduce yourself, and also maybe you could let us know how you've been finding it, how COVID-19 has been affecting Tecna Horizon, your team here in the UK?
Okay, let me try to present again my slides, if I may. Just hold on. Technology, sometimes you need to rush. Okay, and what about if I click here? Yep, and now sure. And now I'm sharing this thing. Could you see?
Yeah, we can perfectly.
Good. So thank you, Anna, and obviously, you are the master here. You know more than anyone on this topic, and yeah, I'm going to briefly let you know how in Tecna Horizon globally, because we got offices in not only in the UK, also in Spain, in Portugal, in Dubai, in India, and other regions, how we were, or what measures we did. The cool thing is being IT company or cybersecurity company, that's what we do for a living. We are more used to work remotely, full stop. That's the main thing, because we are more used, we're 90% of the company, we are techies, let's say. So we are more used to work on the road or work close to the customer, and the customers is usually sit down on their offices. The challenge now is try to be behind or nearby the customer when the customer is not inside the office, right? So instead of saying what we have done, because we have done a lot of things in the past, so it's nothing new, I would like to share a little bit of what all customers ask us to become more or have more return of investment based on the digital transformation that we are suffering these days, if may I. So first, about us, super briefly, we supplying IT cybersecurity solutions across public since 1993. We got, as mentioned, offices in London, Lisbon, in Barcelona, in Madrid, Bombay, New Delhi, obviously here in London. And what we've done is we partner with cutting-edge cybersecurity solutions, and we use that technology to implement on your or on premises of the customers to get them more secure. Briefly, global timeline since 1993, as mentioned, you see we've been opening and opening branches and signing contracts with big portfolio cybersecurity products, and some stats that we've been seeing, because before we move forward to know about digital transformation, we need to first sit down and see what the stats, what are the situation now. In terms of IT, what we have been seeing with Prince on cybersecurity, we have been seeing a lot of increase of since this coronavirus outbreak, because, well, now people are remote. So if the assets are remotely, the hackers will try to sneak and peek and be in line with the conversation and try to phish and try to leak the data, right? Also, fake news. There's a lot of fake news these days, and people are not super friendly with all the technology that we should have to work 100% sure remotely. That is one of the main problems, and that's why I put this small table here with, you can see digital transformation challenge from IT perspective, but pre-COVID and post-COVID. So first one is obviously pre-COVID, we were sitting down on everybody on the same office, right? So communication, as Carl mentioned, is one of the main challenges, right? You are used to just stand by and next to your coworker and ask him something. Now it's completely different. You should be more mature on what you're doing and how you're doing in order to do it by your own, right? So I write down for office physical location and specifically remote working challenges, literally for that. But the second one is visible performance. As Carl also mentioned, is how do I know, or many of the CEOs of the IT managers, owners of companies ask us, how do I know if my workers are really working, or they are watching Netflix, or they are on Facebook? It's super challenging. It's super challenging to monitor 100,000 of people trying to work remotely, because you have no 100% sure if they are working on your things or they are doing other things. And if you are only measured with results, those results, it could be saying, oh, because COVID, we're not doing anything. We have no deals. We have and nobody has budget, so everything is imposed. But no, you still need to know what they are doing, right? So lack of measured performance. We need to put those kind of measures that Carl mentioned in his last presentation with Google Docs, etc., to measure those performance. Also, you need to grant access to those assets that they are used to have to open the computer, and they have the mail, everything was that, right? But now they need to grant those access remotely. And to do that is more complicated because they need to establish a communication through the office or something more difficult, let's say. And one thing that, or two things that are super IT perspective related, and many customers, many owners of companies, they ask us is how or what should I ask my IT personnel to grant, okay, the devices or the technology that we need. So many times they need traditional companies that, yeah, yes, we need Google Docs. Yes, we need something to place in the cloud, but which one? So the thing is, many times they rush the decision, and sometimes when you rush, it's not good. In Spanish, we say something like prisa mata, no? Something like, yeah, if you take a lot of decisions and many times are super risky decisions, right? And finally is the perimeter security that we've been seeing. As you see in that graphic, traditional was the user coming inside the office and they have everything there. But now is user-centric security, but that means the user is now the one that is connecting to the resources, right? So now instead of securing the whole perimeter of the office, we need to protect the user and what is he accessing to. Make sense? Finally, remote challenges are these 5 things. Okay, the most important one is the number 3, lack of IT knowledge from the personnel. Not all of the staff, not all of the users of the employees are super good on technology, right? And many times they have problems. I cannot connect to Zoom. I cannot present my PowerPoint. I cannot connect to the office. Why is not working my email? And that is super challenging being remotely. Because at the beginning you were like, yeah, you hung the phone and say, okay, IT, yeah, I cannot access to a computer, but now I'm in my home, so how I do that? So not good. And unhappy employees handling critical data, that is a challenging one, because now with this sticks like this one, that's 128 gigs. I can just plug this thing on the USB on my computer and take all the data out, and who is going to monitor that I take all the data of my company here? That's super challenging. When we're in the traditional pre-COVID, we have measures to know if someone plug a USB, but now that they are remotely, is more challenging. And finally, why us? It's a bit small marketing here. Cybersecurity specialists, as I said, expertise and focus only cybersecurity. We don't know anything else about IT, just cybersecurity, 25 plus years. Technical certification, we're agile, we increase the productivity because we are not putting nothing on your assets that will stop you build productivity, vice versa. Actually, we're trying to monitor that productivity, right? And that's all from my side. I got a lot of insights from Cole that we can share maybe later. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ricardo. We've got a couple of questions for you that have come in from our audience. So one of them from Gabrielle, he's asked, do you think that Zoom is safe for conducting business meetings? Obviously, I appreciate we're on Zoom now, but if any way you could let us know your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom is a fantastic tool. And actually, the problem with this kind of tools like Zoom or GoToWebinar or GoToMeeting, it's a communication tool that it should be used for the right thing. The problem is when you have no idea what you are doing and you rush on your decisions and you just like happy clickers, like go, click, done, right? That is the problem mainly. So my advice is, yes, Zoom is super good. It should be some measures. We should take some measures like having the latest version and set up a password always to avoid that thumb bombing. I don't know if you have heard that kind of thing that someone randomly enters on your Zoom and he's drinking a beer and like, what are you doing in this conversation? Okay. So yes, overall, any kind of business technology to increase the productivity and increase the communication are good. You just need to know which one is better for your business and follow the experts on cyber to be sure. Thank you.
Great, cool, fair enough. Another question we've had for you from another attendee is, what is your advice for the financial sector when you work from home, as many calls have to be recorded to be able to verify orders and to prevent the use of non-public information?
Yeah, well, it's a really nice one. It's a combination of couple of things or couple of technologies that we should combine on that kind of a scenario. First thing is to try to avoid the fake thing and try to concentrate in someone that I friendly call the goalkeeper. In our company, we have 1 or 2 goalkeepers. That means the one that is going to process the order is not always the one that is literally the one who receive it. So it's like 4 eyes have seen that order that is true, that is not fake, that is coming from someone that is reliable and have funds and have a budget, etc., etc. So it's like writing down all the things, all the common things that pre-COVID you should done. Like, okay, you just send me order for this, is that right? Something simple as that. and not waiting the fax like old-fashioned days of waiting on fax orders to coming in and just printing and sending and shipping. That's one thing. Second thing is monitor. Again, that kind of issue, it's happening every day, the leaking thing, because sometimes it's not the order that is coming from someone that is not really good. Is the guy that is processing the order is leaking some information, and that's not good. So combination of things. One of the things could be not only monitor, also encrypt that kind of information, or put some right management, so you are sure that the one who received that information is the one that asked for that information and is the one who can open that information, and not others. That's one of the things. It's called IRM. Just I have tons of information about that. We can go one by one if you want.
Great. I think that's all right for now. Thank you. Okay, Nuria, if you'd like to tell us a bit about yourself, Roman RM, and then also a bit about how COVID-19 has been affecting your operations in the UK or in Spain, and how you've been reacting to that.
Sure. Roman is a PR and communications agency. We manage the external, internal, and digital communications for companies. We have over 30 years of experience, and we have managed the reputation of companies. So far, we have managed 500 companies or more. And we have offices like Ricardo and Co in Spain and the UK. And there are over 100 staff distributed among these offices. And our clients are from listed companies to international firms, to medium and small companies, startups, all from all sectors. And we are a cross-sector agency. That's what we are. We cover all kinds of sectors. And so I would have to say that we in offices in Spain and also in the UK, we have been adjusting just right. What I mean is that I really believe that this virus, the COVID-19, just has brought forward what probably a good number of companies were already preparing or thinking of. I mean, certainly at Roman, we were already preparing a plan in which staff had the option to work from home at least once a day. And this I really believe is the future of finding a balance, a way to reconcile personal and professional life. So somehow then I believe we have started a process that has opened a new way of living, and I believe that this really won't stop. And so indeed, one may think that maybe nothing can replace a human, and I agree. But technology is our ally, is not our enemy. Co and Ricardo are showing all of this in their slides and their explanations. So let's say at Roman, all employees have given, at the moment, let's say a laptop since everything started. This is also for security reasons, as Ricardo Tecna was from Tecna Zone Group was pointing out very well, and he can really help you with. And also we have made sure that all staff has sufficient Wi-Fi at home and to work fine with an IT support always on call. And so in that sense, technology-wise, we are all fine and coping fine. Now, regarding what Co was mentioning as well about results, well, for me, it's a question of trust in your employees. I mean, at Roman, we strongly believe in results, and of course, we trust that our employees to do their jobs, which I insist. It's a question of. I mean, it's not a question of measuring how many hours we spend doing one job or another one, but in those results. And so, if there is no trust in employees, it is basically impossible to create a sustainable, business, a sustainable future. Actually, in fact, at Roman we are the first PR and communications agency in Spain to be awarded with a B Corp certificate. This is a certificate which proves that you're a business, in your business is a business that balances purposes and purpose and profit. So a company that when a company takes care of, let's say, the decisions considers their impact on their employees, on customers, suppliers, community, and environment. In that sense, if you don't trust employees in terms of if they are watching Netflix, as Ricardo was saying, or they were really answering their emails, at the end of the day, results speak by themselves. And so, aside from that, since the COVID virus outbreak, all teams in Roman have been connected, not just via traditional ways of emails or phone calls, but also through platforms as this one, Zoom, which keeps us all connected, and teamwork and other platforms. I mean, there are other platforms that where a lot of them and others, they will appear, you know, in the future. And I really believe that, as I said, technology we should be using technology and not making it our enemy. Therefore, I would say that Roman has really been coping very well with all of that. Of course, always with the help of companies such as Co, the company that Co is representing, Dokuten or Ricardo. So we are all fine here.
Brilliant, thanks a lot. We've had a question which isn't, which I know any of you or all of you who'd like to answer. Someone's asked, many SMEs trust on their own communications to raise their profiles, often inefficiently. Could you elaborate about which tools you have in your shelves to create a managed reputation for SMEs? So if all of you or one of you would like to answer that.
I would like to say that's what this person is saying. It's very, very important. I mean, I think this is linked completely to the company culture, the way we treat our employees. And at Roman, we have been really taking care of our company culture. Let's say this is key of any company. Let's not forget that employees for a company are our best ambassadors. And this is not just for MSCs, pymes, I would say in Spanish, but to all kind of companies, right? And I mean, let's say when the Spanish government established that employees of companies must work from home, and here in the UK too, due to the virus, Roman has been sending to all employees 2 or 3 emails per week, informing of government measurements and how the company would, and we also would inform how the company would develop these next steps and how employees would be affected. And so maybe now these emails are less frequent, maybe once a week, but at the end of the week, there's always one meeting point, as we call it, is something similar to have a drink on Thursdays with your colleague. It's a meeting point that involves taking part of a quiz, or where the winner can get a voucher to be spent in takeaway food, for instance. And this has proved to be a very great success among employees, and also helps to keep up the morale high and not to lose the company culture, and definitely keeps the staff engaged. Therefore, to keep the communications with the staff, to listen to all of them, to their concerns, because maybe you are doing something in communications that is not really working under the point of view of the marketing team towards the rest of the company, believe that this may not work, but also we should have an active hearing there. You know, we should be listening the employees and maybe something that may not work of what you're doing, their opinions, they are very valid, and this helps very much so into communicating with them. And so communications here are very important, and a marketing team and all the internal communications of a company, it's basic in that sense. I don't know if this is answering the question, or Ricardo and Co would like to add something in here.
Well, in our case, it's pretty much similar. The only change is, instead of us sending internal emails, that many times you have a lot of emails, so those ones slightly different internally, they get like somewhere lost. So we use teams of groups, and that teams, actually it's Microsoft Teams, it's called like that, but it's groups of team workers, and many of those, they're not even, the boss is not there, and not even from the same department. So many times the 1 or 2% from marketing, 1 or 2% from sales, 1 or 2 technical, and 1 financial controller all work together with a product base. So instead of be or only interdepartmental, sorry, only department, they are mixing, or we are mixing people from all the departments to get that communication up and straightforward. And we use like three scales. We use like general managers or board of directors, then product managers that they're facing all the products that we are trading with, and then the personnel, the regular staff, that sales, marketing, etc. That's how we do it.
Mm.
Cool. Code, do you have anything you want to add for that question, or should we progress?
Yeah, no, I think Ricardo and Nuria said a lot of it, all very useful things. I guess everybody has their own way of kind of enforcing cultures in the company. But one thing that I could add though is that we've started having kind of daily water coolers or coffee breaks where the whole company just goes online. It's not mandatory. You can go in or you can not attend, but you're encouraged to do so, and you're not allowed to talk about work. and I think that's been very useful, especially that this is a new experience for everybody. So mentally it can be kind of draining, right? And our CEO also has been doing a tremendous job of making sure that we have a monthly kind of state of the company addresses, and also has a very kind of a democratic way of decision making, which is quite nice. So it's very involving. Granted, the size of the company is very different from a 200-person company or a 50-person company, but there are ways around it. Yeah.
Great. Okay, we got another question now. Just like to remind everyone who's joined us, thank you so much for contributing with your questions and opinions, but please keep it coming, and also share with us your experiences from your company as well. We'd love to hear about it. So another question we've got from someone is, how do you enforce discipline when people have their eye off the ball, when they are working at home and you cannot have a face-to-face meeting? So to all of you, or whoever would like to answer it.
I would say you cannot enforce, right? As Nuria correctly mentioned, it's a matter of trust. First thing, you need to trust your employees, right? I mean, the goal of this thing, if the employee is happy, and actually Cole mentioned that in the beginning, if the employee is happy, then you will keep the employee there. If you are, imagine yourself, if you are happy and you work and you have motivation to go every day and open the computer because you really like your job and you're happy, you will not do bad things. So nobody should have a monitor on you. When I mentioned the monitor thing in my company is because many times it's not even your fault. Many times it's unintentional leak. So we need to still monitoring those kind of actions that the users done, instead of pointing them with a pistol, say, hey, I'm monitoring you, so you should work, right? No, it's like, if you're motivated, you're happy, you will work.
Yeah. I think Nacho, one of the attendees, also did type this, his thoughts that accountability is crucial here. So there are project management tools that you can have there, wherein you assign tasks, and then you do weekly stand-ups and talking about what you're going to do, what you did last week, what you're going to do this week, and what's stopping you from getting there. And have one-on-ones as well with these people who are probably underperforming. If you think they're underperforming, one-on-ones are always great, virtual ones. And something that I've seen other companies do is kind of, it might be sensitive to some companies depending on culture you have, but it's kind of like public shaming. So when or within the Slack group or a Microsoft Teams group, saying that, oh, like in our department, we've all updated our performance on what we did for the month, except this guy, this woman, and so this kind of gives this social pressure where it's friendly, but at the same time it keeps people in check. It doesn't have
the other way around is the kudos thing.
Yeah,
receive kudos to the guy that is super motivated and has been working a lot these days, and
Yeah.
the double, right? So you give kudos to me.
Positive reinforcement, right? I think it depends on the person. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. One should prize, that stuff that they are overperforming. I mean, this is just part of keeping, people engaged and active and wanting to do more. I mean, this is like a basic relationship between personnel and between bosses and employees, let's say.
It's like in kindergarten, you do something good and they give you like
A star.
Yeah, it's motivation.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. So you've all mentioned about the different practices that you've been using in your companies for engaging with your employees. So, and yeah, you've mentioned the variety. So if we were kind of going to summarize a bit, which would you say that you found to be the one practice or maybe the two practices which are really the most effective in maximizing employee engagement, or for generally speaking, improving your digital workplace? If you had to summarize the top one or two, maybe. Maybe I don't mind who you'd like to start. Maybe Co, if you'd like to kick off with that.
Yeah, I think it would really be accountability. I think that's the one thing I could, if I could sum it in one word. When you're accountable and you have the digital processes to be able to have everybody accountable and aligned within the CEO's vision or director's vision of the company, within a single goal, and then you work backwards in making sure that everybody feels like they're doing their part into reaching that goal. And I think that's the one takeaway here. And within that journey, and like in my slide, don't fall into the activity trap, and work together to get there. And I don't think it's being apart is an excuse anymore. There's more than enough technology out there. If we can go to Mars, we can certainly work together remotely.
As long as they have good enough Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
Before we move on to Ricardo and Nuria, I've just got someone. So Susanna Garcia has just said, I've been working in business development and customer success in IT tech solutions for quite a while now. I always worked full-time working from home. Well, combination of working from home and the office. I believe very much in the results-oriented approach from Co. There are great solutions out there which allows it. Also, in my opinion, it also increases productivity, engagement, and global reach if done correctly. She also says that Ricardo can tell you there are also ways to restrict access to Netflix and some other tools working from home. Some programs allow this. So yeah, and she's also just added that she also very much agrees with Nuria. It helps to reconcile and also to engage on the contrary of what it might seem. Not everyone likes to connect or engage with employees or colleagues in the same way. For example, different channels and via SMS or video call, etc.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for your contribution with that, Susanna. I'd just like to remind everyone who's with us, please do keep writing in with your experiences or your advice of the best practices you've found in your company. And we'd really like to hear about what you found to be the most effective as well. That'd be great. Okay, Ricardo, if you want to share maybe your top one or two practices with us from what you've said.
Top one or takeaway is the word communication. Obviously, I'm in IT, and the big part of IT is the way that we share the communication, that we share experience, we share the way to make business, right? So if there's a proper good communication, it's enough internally. I mean, your users will perform better. So if you give him the correct tools, the correct device, the correct ideas to communicate, to share, to be expressive, to do what they want to do performance-wise, it will be much better. And then once a month or once a week, depends, you have internal feedback. And I want to share a little bit of my experience. Since I've been in this company, I've been for 10 years now. Every other quarter, I have one-to-one that a call remembers me a one-to-one session with my boss, and my boss asked me feedback about him, and he told me feedback about my performance. So it's two ways, right? So if he can say, told me something like, you are performing not good this month, and I can say back, you are bossing around a little bit, and everything is super relaxed, super good, and it's all matter of communication and trust. So I'm trying to do exactly the same with my team here in the UK. I ask almost every 15 days how I'm doing. I'm doing all right. If not, just let me know. Be brutally honest. And that's one of the things that I love the much, to be brutally honest with the staff. Because if I'm brutally honest with them, they will be brutally honest back with me. That's the thing. So communication, give them the correct tools for communication is key in my opinion.
Cool, thanks a lot. What do you think, Nuria?
Well, what can I say? I'm a PR and communications agency, and indeed communications is basic and it's key to everything. I mean, we have to make sure that the technology works in our favor and use technology, right? But it's us taking the decisions, and it's us, the ones who, you know, that makes the relationship with humans. And maybe we are each of us at home, but we're still communicating, and we still need to talk to each other, and maybe the problems may arise back again into, you know, I don't like this guy, or I don't like the other one, but the communication needs to be flowing. It needs to keep on flowing, and therefore for me, I think it has been key in Roman, and I think it should have been key, and it should have been as well in all the companies, how from how the company communicates towards the employees and explains and accompanies these employees in all the way. You know, if there are problems, the employees should be able to talk to the company, and the company should be able to explain, and the company should always be informing the employees about every step, because these are unprecedented times. These are times in which any of us have been living before, and therefore we are, you know, on uncertain waters. We are in a situation which is pure uncertainty. Therefore, we should be, you know, we should be transparent. We should be talking to our employees and accompanying them in all these trips that we are taking together, and of course being accountable as well say, and accountability goes, you know, it's linked with the results. And if you keep your employee happy, therefore results will be happy, and you wouldn't need to, you know, to really keep your employees as in a prison, you know, forbidding them to be Netflix or not Netflix, because there will be no necessity to go to Netflix, because everybody is like focused doing their job, and this
results will become,
this is all based in trust. And so actually, to be honest with you, to be honest with all the panelists and our audience here listening to us, and then with contributing as well to this debate, if the company before, the base of this company that you are working for is not right, now it's not going to go better. But I believe that we should take, note of this virus, and maybe lots of companies and lots of people will learn from this situation, which will help. Which, maybe some companies were not, creating good communication. They were not communicating well with their employees. Maybe now they have realized this is the only way forward. Maybe now they have realized that trusting their employees and really believing that they are the ambassadors of the company. Now it's the moment of the situation with the virus that really they have realized that there is no any other way forward. Therefore, there is opportunities here to learn from our mistakes personally and company-wise. So I think that that would be my number key learning here, that communication really prevails.
Cool. That's really good insight. I guess, and what you've said, Nuria, flows into my last question that I wanted to ask you. Fits pretty perfectly. I wondered if any of the three of you had anything else to add about how you think this whole experience of the pandemic might change the work culture at your companies moving forwards as we all move into this new normality. and what key lessons as leaders in your companies will you be taking away from the experience? Yeah, because I'm sure there's all things that we've all learned that we can take away. Co, would you like to start?
That's great. That's a really great question, Hannah. So I think post-COVID, we'll obviously be going back to our offices. I think we have a very positive team. We like being together. We'll still be flying between, hopefully, London and Spain, but then otherwise within the Madrid and Galicia office. But we will still be doing what we're doing now in terms of holding people accountability and getting people together and connecting, having these after work or in between work kind of coffee time. What will probably change though is what we see coming from the client side. I think on the client side, this digital workplace or digital transformation, as it's mostly known for, has really accelerated. COVID has accelerated it, as Nuri also mentioned earlier. And what we're seeing on our customer success team, our customer service team, is that they're now requesting to use Document in so many facets in their business. If it's not that, then volume is certainly increasing, and that's going to be very important going post-COVID, because there's no turning back from there. You don't just decide to go to paper again. And when there's more usage on cloud-based technologies, I think companies like Ricardo's, for example, will be very important. You're going to have to secure it and put a vault on that and make sure that nobody can get through, and you maintain kind of both efficiency but also security. And so it's going to be very exciting. And the European Union is also paving the way. It's good to see government backing. The European Union is paving the way on making sure that we're headed towards a digital economy. And if there's any takeaway from on COVID, it's going to be that now's the time more than ever to start working on this seriously.
Yeah, fair enough.
I guess last words I think would be, because we get a lot of this resistance, especially from our sales team, for example, when clients would say, well, it's too expensive to invest in cybersecurity infrastructure or document management tools. But we could also tell them, well, it's more expensive. It's actually more expensive not to innovate rather than it's more expensive to innovate. So I think COVID's really put that into perspective.
Good stuff. Thanks a lot. Ricardo, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I really agree with Scott, and actually I write down change to survive. Refreshing the digital transformation. So it's not the digital transformation, because we've been, as Nuria mentioned earlier, there were companies that they were preparing for this situation, but now it's like the moment of the truth. Are you prepared to survive, or are you being taking those small steps to digital transform your company to now survive? Yes or no? And that is the thing. And I should add something that we have a small problem in Spain. Well, we have a lot of small problems, but one is what I call the reunioning. Is this kind of things that you've been meeting without no results. So you meet just for meeting, and that's something that I have not seen here in the UK or in other countries, only in Spain. Yes, let's have a chat. Yes, let's have coffee. That's good. But in Spain, it's like, yeah, let's have a chat, or let's have a coffee, and then you not speak about business. So it's like, what's going on? Why I'm not speaking business? Why I'm taking time to investing in this customer if this customer is not even going to buy from me, right? So that kind of reunioning, that is having reuniones, meetings without any kind of goal, it should be avoided and should be finished. And that's what kind of the things that I believe this change to survive, it should be done. And I agree with you. I mean, or provisions of cybersecurity in terms of long term, it is true that it's an investment, but it's a must investment. It's like buying devices, buying computers, buying tablets, buying that kind of things, that kind of tools. At the end, cybersecurity should be a tool that you should have in order to prevent data leak, for instance, right? It's gonna be, or it is part of the way to digital your company.
Well, great. Yeah, it's an interesting point. I'd never heard about that concept before. Nuria, do you have anything you'd like to say to add to that to wrap up?
Well, it's basically a little bit where I just said initially, you know, that somehow a lot of companies, they were already preparing to, you know, as we, Roman, did, you know, preparing of thinking that in which giving the staff the option of working from home, and we, Roman, we are already preparing, and it was just a coincidence that the virus came, because just 1 week before, you know, by the government, it was being decided that we had to work from home. We were really going to, you know, to deploy the strategy of giving to staff the possibility of working at least once a day from home, but precisely in thinking of giving this, as I said, to reconcile this personal and professional life together, right? And this, it goes together with everything that we have already said. And so now we've been pushed completely 100% into being, you know, working from home. But it's really, companies really have to switch, you know, into this new way of living. Of course, we will go back to the office, all of us. But this doesn't mean that we don't need to, you know, to be learning from the situation that we are in at the moment. That indeed we will take a lot of things out of it, as Ricardo and Co also have said.
Brilliant, cool, thank you very much. I think, well, with that then we'll wrap up. We've all been here for an hour now, so thank you so much, guys, Co, Ricardo, Nuria, for your contributions today. It's been really interesting, and I hope that everyone who's been involved has found it as useful, well, as I certainly have. Thank you so much also for writing in with your opinions that you shared with us and your questions. So yeah, thank you very much again, Co, Ricardo and Nuria. To everyone who's joined us, I'll send out an email later this afternoon including their contact information, just so if you'd like to get in touch with them about learning more about Docu10, Tecna or Roman RM, you can do that. And also just please do take a look at the events section of the Spanish Chamber website. We've got a very busy agenda of webinars coming up over the course of the coming months, so it'd be great if you could get involved with as many as you'd like to. So yeah, thank you very much once again to the three of you, and yeah, see you soon, hopefully.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.